Hi, I'm here today to tell you how to do the Wolf Pack game if you were absent and didn't get a chance to do that. So the first thing that you're going to do is you have opened, hopefully through Schoology, you've opened this document and you have the Wolf Pack game here. The second thing that you're going to need to do is open an online dice roller. So there's lots of different ways you can do this. But you're going to need it in a separate window. So what you're going to do is click these two little squares in the upper right hand corner, and then you can resize this window to make it as big or as small as you want. Okay, going to go down to Google and right click and open another window of Google Chrome. And if you slide that all the way over there, it'll do that, and you can get two tabs open here. You can also do two tabs and then click back and forth between two tabs, but I think it's easier just to have this second window open. So just like we did for the leaf collection, you're going to open a second window there. You can either search for your own or you can use the one I showed you. There's a bunch of online dice rollers there. The one I always use is from this online stopwatch because I like how it makes the sound. I think that's kind of neat. So we got to change it though to 2 dice. You're going to need 2 dice. So you click the little settings bar and go to 2 dice there, and then it will roll dice for you. If you have your own set of dice at home, that actually would come in really handy today. So if you want to do your own set of dice, then you don't have to have the second window open. All right. So what you're going to do here is this is a Wolf Pack survival game. So what you're going to do is we're going to say that our wolf pack has 2 parents, 8 new pups, and 2 pups from last year for a total of 12 wolves. So what I'm going to do is roll the dice here. I'm going to see what number comes up, and then I'm going to follow this chart to do what it tells me to do. All right, so I'm just going to start an example. When you go to play this, you should do your own. All right, so I'm going to roll my dice here. I get a 6. So dice number rolled, I'm going to put in a 6. If I look over on my chart, 6 tells me -1. Wolf is killed in an attack by another pack. So my number of wolves, I'd click into that one. I'm just using my mouse to click from one box to the next, which I think is faster. I put a -1 in there. I started with 12. Remember up here it told me I started with 12. So if I lost 1, I'd be down to 11 wolves. And I click into the next box. Go over here and roll my dice. I get a 5 that time, so you'd put a 5 in the box. If I go look at my chart here, a 5 says no change. My wolf pack is living well, and I got no change. So I'm just going to put a little dash right here. It does not go up or down, so I just have an 11 right there. These yellow boxes are the numbers you're going to need later to graph. So what you could do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little piece of paper, scratch paper out while I do my assignment, and I'm going to write April of the first year, and I'm going to write 11 on there. See how I wrote April and 11? Because in April of this first year, there was 11 wolves. It will save you some time later if you write down these yellow numbers, because those are the numbers you're going to have to put on a population graph later. Then I go to May. I'm going to roll my dice again, and I have rolled a 7. And so I have to look in the chart. Some people just want to add 7 wolves. Don't do that. You don't add 7 wolves. You go here and look at the chart. I look up 7. 7 is also no change. So I got lucky again. Some kids kind of have fun with this. It's like, oh, I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens to my wolves. Okay. June 1st, let's roll to see what happens to them on June 1st. I get a 6. Again, I'll go look in the chart. 6, I have a wolf killed by another pack. Again, I'm rolling a lot of 6s. So that would be a -1. So now my wolf pack is down to 10. Okay, so I'm going to pretend like I have filled in all the rest of these. Okay, you would just continue on rolling dice, looking in the chart, getting what happened. You're going to continue. So let's say my population something happened, it went down to 9. You're not going to do this. I'm just going to fill in fake numbers here. Then it went down to 8. Then it stayed at 8 for a while. Then it went up to 9 again. Then it went down to 7. So whatever happened, let's say this is what happened to my wolf population. All right. So I end up with 6 wolves here on February 6th. Once again, these yellow numbers, I'm going to write down July and number 9. I'm going to write down October, and I have 9 there. And then by January, my population has gone down to 6. You don't have to write them down, but I recommend it because that'll help you in your very last step. So then you go on to the next page, and here I'm going to make my screen bigger so you can see what we do. So this is kind of the end of the year. Our years are going to start in the spring and end in the spring. So I ended up with 6 wolves in my wolf pack. So I have 6 from February last year. So I can just kind of type a 6 in right here. If that number is greater than 12, I would subtract 6 from it. So if I had 13 wolves, let's just say I had 13 wolves, I would subtract 6. What happens if the wolf pack gets much above 12? In the spring, the parents will actually kick out the mature wolves from previous years, and they will make them go find their own wolf pack. All right. So, but if their numbers are low, they're going to keep them. So if my number was 13, I would subtract 6 and get 7. If my number is 6, that's below 12, so I would just leave it, and then I wouldn't do this step. And then we're going to say new pups are born for this year. So typical litter is about 6 pups that survive. So if I had 6 and I didn't do anything here and I add 6, then I would again start this year with 12. Okay. If, let's say I had 14 pups in this litter, then it's going to kick out. They're going to kick out pups. So I would have 14 minus 6, which is 8, plus 6 new pups, which would make me, basically what it does is it makes you start and end with the same number. So I would start year 2 then with 14 new pups. Okay, so just if that makes sense. If your number is less than 12, so if I had, say, 11 here, if it's 12 or less, I would say just leave it. If it's 12 or 11, then I would leave it. If it's 13, then I would subtract 6, add 6, and I would end with 13 again. Does that make sense? So let's say I start my year with 13, then I go down here, and now I go back to rolling dice again. All right, so I'm going to roll my dice for the second year. That gives me, I rolled an 8. 8 means that I add 1, and I started with 13, so now I would have 14. And then you just continue on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then you go on to the third year, and then you continue to do the same thing that you did for the second year. Last but not least, you have to make a graph of your data. So to make a graph, there is another link that shows you just the graph information here, but it's pretty easy. What you do is you click on the graph, you click on this little link here, and you click open source, and then all those yellow numbers I told you to write down, my first year in April, you might have to slide these little dealy bobs. Sometimes it wants to kick you over here and make it look like there's nothing here, but slide that all the way to the left. So I had here 11, and then in July of that year I had 9, and then I had in October of that year I had 9, and then January of that year I had 6, and then I would put in my next data. So let's say I started here with 13, and then let's say I went down to 11. All of those yellow numbers that you wrote down, you simply then type into the graph here, and the computer will make the graph for you. We have time on the x-axis here. So this is how my wolf population is changing over the different years. And this is number of wolves in the wolf pack. And when the population goes down, my line goes down. When the population goes up, my line goes up. To finish putting this back into your Google Doc, you click over here and just hit update. And then it will update your population changes in the graph for you. That's all that there is to it. All right, so that's how you do today's assignment. Email me or Mr. Douglas if you have questions, and good luck.